Our next speaker is an independent journalist, somebody who has, as we all have, we've sat and done some research and looked at what's really going on. Okay? But to tell us more about his journey as a patriot and as an independent journalist, let me introduce Rick Boswick, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, Rick!
Thank you.
This man
First off,
has been
I didn't
reporting
prepare anything.
on...
And the reason for that is because I've been busy taking phone calls, like 100 a day at least, from everybody that I see here today. Everybody that I've ever worked with. Thank you.
Yeah, Rick is an amazing man.
Every fine Canadian and patriotic person that I've ever had the privilege to work with is here. And that says something. So first off, I want the front of this crowd to give a big cheer, a big shout out to the Quebec people. I'm so happy that the people from Quebec came. Nations, provinces are coming together. We're putting everything aside. There is no more time left. So as some of you know, my name is Rick Boswick. I run Facts versus Feelings on YouTube and on Facebook. And it's been a long journey, but it's been a pleasurable one. I'm hoping that maybe I get 10,000 subs by the time this day is over. I'm very close.
We love you.
Like, share, subscribe, exactly, and check the notification bell because they like to turn that off on you. So, I guess I started out kind of centrist. I saw things that were wrong. I did about 7 years of research. As an introvert, I was very, very hard on myself, depression, anxiety, everything, and I'd keep my head down. I wouldn't make eye contact with anybody, and I wouldn't leave the apartment for weeks. But I studied 9/11 truth. I found a lot of interesting things on that.
Oh, yeah.
And I also studied alternative cancer cures because I had cancer twice. I'm a 2-time survivor.
Wow.
Thank you. And the more outspoken that I became, the more influence that I had, the more attention that I obviously brought to myself from the left. And we see what obviously media does. We see the false narrative, and they're swaying public opinion. That's why we don't have 50,000 people here or 100,000 people, because it's unpopular what we're talking about. And we get demonized by the people that are suffering from cognitive dissonance that you know, in the face of facts that go against everything that they believe, they will double down. And it's a scary thing. But what I see here with the bigger numbers is that as a patriotic community, we are coming together.
Yes.
We are, you know, we've had smaller events. We've had, you know, Dan Dubois from C3. He was usually the biggest turnout for the year, you know, 300-400 people. But now we're just
thousands.
We're family. We're family, and that's the thing I love about this. I mean, this gathering is just as important for the mind and the heart and the soul as having 8 patriotic friends in my house last night, as hosting, as barbecuing, as getting to know people, consummating relationships in person.
Consummation.
But anyway, so things picked up last year when and I got to give a shout out to Derek Story wherever he is. So once again, I knew him from before my political days, and then he came into the fray and really stepped up, and we became a very unstoppable team, a very big threat to Antifa. So those obviously, I don't have to say who Antifa is, right? But we were used to the pussycats here that don't get violent. We weren't used to the radicals in Toronto, and we exposed them. We exposed a lot of them, and thank you to Mindy Thomas, wherever she is, and the people that work with Antifa Exposed for bringing us information on these people.
Nice.
And the real danger here, and the physical threat is overwhelming. Like when we went, and a lot of people are going to disagree with the Gage Park, the Pride Park. I went with the Christians. The Christians have been doing it forever. For like 7 years, they've been going to different Pride events. And nobody expected what we saw at Pride in 2018, 2019.
What happened?
Last year.
What happened?
And it was the same way that we're unifying. We see Black Lives Matter, we see Muslim Brotherhood, we see the LGBTQ community. They're all teaming up too, and they're government funded, and they have the media in their pocket.
Wow.
And it's and what that does, when they create a false normal, for a false narrative, it emboldens people to attack us.
Is there. Oh my
So
God.
that very fact that you have to worry about your physical safety by coming out and expressing differing opinions, by being critical of the government, that's a scary. That's East Bloc Germany.
Yeah.
That's absolutely communism. And we see obviously with Norman, you saw Norman, he tried to go through the system. He tried, yeah. Cheer for Norman. And I'm honored to work with this man. I'm honored to work with this man.
Love you, Norm.
We are all Norman. We are Norman. We are Norman. We are Norman.
Norman is taking Justin Trudeau to court,
So,
and he's going to be speaking
anyway, yeah,
shortly.
once we went to Toronto and really we got exposed to how violent Antifa could be, he got locked out of the courts. We've been trying the courts, and they're playing their games in the courts.
Wow.
And we've been following the rule of law. We've been peaceful, but you saw, obviously, if you watch my footage, you saw what they did at Pride. You saw when they found out that Pan Man, the guy who defended us with his helmet, defended us. He defended us. You can look at the footage. I've broken it down, and they get a pass. They get a pass. We the week after, for retribution, we got hunted for 8 blocks through the downtown core. Many assaults, blocking our path, false imprisonment.
Wow.
Jack Reynolds, wherever he is, a 70-year-old man hit in the head with a brick, and Ed, wherever he is. Attempted murder, and that's they got back finally and said that's a civil matter.
What?
That's a civil matter. So yeah, exactly. And that's Tory. That's Tory telling the cops to stand down and giving them favor.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to their online propaganda, it's universal. I think what we've established is that the same Antifa that come out and use violence and milkshakes and all this kind of stuff and try and quell all dissenting opinion of the globalist agenda.
Yeah.
And they're paid probably very well. We've actually captured $300 wanted stories.
Wow.
Exactly, posters. So if you're a good fiction story writer, then you may want to make some money.
Wow.
Okay. But anyway, what I want to say is I'm one individual. That's all I am. And I had the courage when it wasn't popular. I mean, my family ostracized. A lot of you have probably had big fights with family over this. And it is a price that we have to pay. But this right here, what you see, this is the reward. This is the reward. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. And here, and probably a lot of people want to hear from this man, Mr. Norman Traversy.
God bless you all. And God bless those who serve, and God bless our veterans and first responders. A year ago, I never thought I'd be here. I never thought I'd be here with you. This all happened because I became aware of just how unjust this country is. The corruption, the criminality, the injustice, and the depravity that we have in our so-called ruling elite. Last August, I'd been following the SNC Lavalin affair, to my disgust. And last August, I saw a YouTube video of Commissioner Brenda Lucki. And she was saluting in her red serge dress Mountie uniform. And while she was saluting, Justin Trudeau came up to her, embraced her, and kissed her on both cheeks. And I thought, what contempt that man has for that person and for the office she holds. I said, I knew the RCMP was crooked, but they're almost literally in bed with the ruling elite. Well, that was it for me. I'm just an ex-firefighter. I'm not a lawyer, but I do know that I have the right to file what's called a private prosecution. And I did. I drafted one up myself, and I went to the Ottawa courthouse. And the JP there, he says, well, go for a coffee. You know, I'm going to have a meeting. I came back after half an hour and he said, will you swear to the best of your knowledge that what's in this document is true? And I swore in a Bible that it was true. And he said, your pre-oncat hearing, that's the hearing where they decide whether you're bogus or not. Your pre-oncat hearing is going to be in 8 days. 8 days. So I showed up 8 days later with a lot of evidence. I'd spent a lot of money getting a man named Gary McHale as my witness. And we showed up a half hour early for our hearing. And a number of other people showed up as well at the Ottawa courthouse right down the street. And we were told, oh, the judge is sick. So the Ottawa courthouse that day only had one judge, and that judge was sick. So they couldn't deal with the matter of Traversy versus Trudeau. Couldn't do it. So they said, okay, your hearing's going to be in a month, October the 4th. Once again, at great expense, I got my witness out, compiled a basket full of evidence. We had 12 thumb drives with the phone calls from various people harassing Jody Wilson-Raybould, who is the Attorney General of Canada. We had it all.
Wow.
I was there with my witnesses. A number of people were there for moral support. Room 14, the Ottawa courthouse. We were there a half hour early. Door was locked. I knocked on the door. Nothing. We stood outside that door for an hour with me knocking every couple of minutes.
Disgusting.
We found out at the end of the day, I got a transcript, they held that hearing behind a locked door while I was outside. Yeah. They invoked the McHale principle for lack of evidence, and I had Gary McHale standing next to me with over 200 evidentiary documents.
Disgrace.
We had the thumb drives. We had it all. He locked us out. They locked us out. They had the hearing. They stayed it for lack of evidence. Now, stayed does not mean canceled. It means put on hold, paused. And now I'm going to reopen it.
God bless this man.
But that's not why we're here today. We're here today because on Dominion Day, July 1st, the USMCA comes into effect. The United States, Mexico, and Canada trade agreement comes into effect now. Now, Section 27 of that trade agreement states that all three co-signers must address corruption in their countries. If they do not address the corruption in their countries, tariffs can be laid. Now, this document, I had a team of people that were legally trained. Like I said, I was just a firefighter. I'm not a lawyer. I did do an outline. This contains a cover letter. We're handing them out. They'll be available online at JusticeForCanada.ca. The entire document will be available as of 12 o'clock, as of now. And this has a cover letter where it's addressed to President Trump and President Maduro. Now, this document has a 6-page legal brief, and that 6-page legal brief addresses only 3 issues out of the dozens of issues that we have in this country. The first one which is, I know, President Trump's most important priority, is children. Child trafficking by the Children's Services, the Children's Aid Society, who are kidnapping children and selling babies. We've got the proof. The second section of this 6-page document concerns corporate corruption, and that is SNC, Lavalin, and Trudeau. Now, the third one concerns the workplace safety boards, which affects all of us. These workplace safety boards across Canada are amassing tens of billions, and they are investing that money illegally in the stock market in Canada and the U.S. Ontario has a $52 billion surplus with the WSIB. I told that to Premier Ford, and he said he'd check on it. Within 10 days, he lowered the rates by 3% for employers. He did not do anything about the injured workers. Now, this money is supposed to be held in trust. These workplace safety boards are public trusts. They are not for profit, yet they are for profit. And they're profiting from all of us, all these employers. Now, this money is being laundered through the British Columbia Investment Management Corporation, the BCIMC, and it is then going on to the American and Canadian stock markets illegally through shell companies like Quadrille and Granite. Look it up. Now, this is huge, and this is going to get fixed for all of us. For all the first responders. We have triple the rate of first responder suicide in Ontario per capita compared to the rest of the country. Why is that? Why is it? Is it because there's a $52 billion surplus that should be going to the injured? Okay, that's what's going to be in the brief. There's lots more we could put in the brief, but what we're going to do is we're going to serve this along with 192 pages of evidence and signed, sworn affidavits. Now, the White House has already gotten this electronically, and they have given us a receipt. So, I'm going to walk to the embassy with anybody that will come with me, and I'm going to deliver this. Okay? Okay. Where we go one, we go all. Thank you. God bless you all.
Hi everybody. Bonjour tout le monde. Pour ceux qui ne connaissent pas, je suis Edith Tremblay, la chef adjointe de chiffre. Je ne sais pas c'est quoi adjointe, mais I have 3 years to learn English, so I'm not gonna learn English very well. Ok, je suis la chef adjointe du nouveau parti Peuple au pouvoir. Et ce parti-là est pour défendre tous les Québécois, Québécoises, Canadiens et Canadiennes. Venez nous voir sur Internet, PPAP. Nous organisons aussi une manifestation le 4 juillet. Et nous voulons que cette manifestation-là soit dans toutes les villes canadiennes. Okay, the 4th July, we will do a big manifestation, okay? Because the cover is mandatory. Le masque va devenir obligatoire au Québec le 13 juillet. It will be mandatory tomorrow. So we will do a big manifestation. So please go to see us at PPAP Canada. Venez nous voir. Nouveau parti Peuple au pouvoir du Canada, PPAP. Merci beaucoup de votre écoute.
And hey, Norman, before you leave, is that JusticeForCanada.ca with the number 4 or the word 4?
It's the 4, the word.
It's the word 4, F-O-R, JusticeForCanada.ca.
Wow. That's smart.
Thank you. JusticeForCanada.ca. That's F-O-R, JusticeForCanada.ca. How are we all feeling right now, huh? We have so many more speakers coming, so many more speakers. We're actually going to play some music for y'all. So get some water. We're going to have a little intermission.